Abhajat, worshipped, Gurum, most worshipable. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. Sri Maitreya said, Devahuti was fully faithful and respectful toward the direction of her husband, Kardama, who was one of the Prajapatis or generators of human beings in the universe. O great sage, she thus began to worship the Master of the universe, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in everyone's heart. Please repeat after me. Sri Maitreya said, Devahuti was fully faithful and respectful toward the direction of her husband, Kardama, who was one of the Prajapatis or generators of human beings in the universe. O great sage, she thus began to worship the Master of the universe, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in everyone's heart. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. This is the process of spiritual realization. One has to receive instruction from a bona fide spiritual master. Kardam Muni was Devahuti's husband, but because he instructed her on how to achieve spiritual perfection, he naturally became her spiritual master also. There are many instances wherein the husband becomes the spiritual master. Lord Shiva also is the spiritual master of his consort Parvati. A husband should be so enlightened that he should become the spiritual master of his wife in order to enlighten her in the advancement of Krishna consciousness. Generally, Stri or woman is less intelligent than man. Therefore, if the husband is intelligent enough, the woman gets a great opportunity for spiritual enlightenment. Here it is clearly said, Samyak Shraddhaya, that with great faith one should receive knowledge from the spiritual master and with great faith execute the performance of service. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in his commentary on Bhagavad Gita, has especially stressed the instruction of the spiritual master. One should accept the instruction of the spiritual master as one's life and soul. Whether one is liberated or not liberated, one should execute the instruction of spiritual master with great faith. It is also stated that the Lord is situated in everyone's heart. One does not have to seek the Lord outside. He is already here or is already there. One simply has to concentrate on one's worship in good faith as instructed by the bona fide spiritual master, and one's efforts will come out successfully. It is also clear that the Supreme Personality of Godhead does not appear as an ordinary child. He appears as he is, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita. He appears by his own internal potency, Atma Maya. And how does he appear? He appears when pleased by the worship of a devotee. A devotee may ask the Lord to appear as her son. The Lord is already sitting within the heart, and if he comes out from the body of a devotee, it does not mean that the particular woman becomes his mother in the material sense. He is always there, but in order to please his devotee, he appears as her son. Om Ajnanatimira Andasya Jnananjana Chalashalapi Chaksuranmiritamena Tasmaya Shri Guruvena Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimati Radha Govinda Goswami Niti Namene Namaste Prabhupada Devam Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesh Sunyavadi Grama Jane Nistarine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namene Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesh Sunyavadi Paschata Deshtarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna devotees. Today we are reading a very important verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. in the last class we discussed how Karda Muni gives instructions to Devahuti to perform devotional service to the Lord, and giving some very, very important instructions. First of all, to control the senses, the manner, and following all the different rules, and also performing tapa, like austerities, and giving charity, and worshipping the Lord with faith. Bhaja, Shraddhaya, Cheswaram Bhaja, Cha Ishwaram Bhaja. So that's how you should worship the Lord. And then if you do that, then the Lord will appear as your son and spread my yasha or my fame. And also he will remove or cut the hirdaya granthi or the knot of the heart. Cheta te hirdaya granthim odaryo brahma bhavana. How will he do that? By giving you transcendental knowledge. By giving you divya gyan, he will be able to remove the hirdaya granthi or cut the hirdaya granthi. And now Maitreya is speaking. Maitreya uvacha. Maitreya is actually speaking to whom? Maitreya is speaking to Vidura. Maitreya is saying that Devahuti api sandesham gauravena prajapati. So Devahuti sandesham means the instructions or the direction. When Devahuti heard this, she took it with great respect, the instructions of who? Prajapati. Prajapati is actually the husband, the Kardam Muni, because he is one of the Prajapatis. And what is the meaning of Prajapati? The progenitors, yeah, progenitors. So Prajapati, he's Kardam Muni, his name is Kardam Muni, he's Prajapati. And Samyak Shraddhaya Purusham, after that, what did she do? Did she actually follow the instructions? Yes, she did follow the instructions of the husband, so that's why it's mentioned here. Devahuti was fully faithful and respectful toward the direction of her husband, Kardama, who was one of the Prajapatis or generators of human beings in the universe. O great sage, she thus began to worship the master of the universe, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in everyone's heart. So she had the instructions of the husband, and the husband is actually giving wonderful instructions here on devotional service. So husband is, Prabhupada says, a spiritual master here also, because we know that later on the spiritual master of Devahuti is who? After this, like when Kardam Rishi leaves home, then her spiritual master is her own son, whose name is Kapil Dev. Yeah, Lord Kapil. Lord Kapil is the one who gives detailed instructions on devotional service and also other subject matters. And she was the one who was able to cut the knot or hirdaya granthi which exists in the heart, granthi or knot in the heart. Or Prabhupada last time in the previous purport wrote, metta and the spirit are knotted by false ego. So to cut the false ego, one needs to get Divya Gyan. And she got Divya Gyan from Kapil, Lord Kapil. Hare Krishna. So we can see here that Devahuti received the instructions and she followed and she took it very seriously. That's why it's Gauravena. Gauravena means with great respect, because just like Lord and Lord's instructions are non-different, Similarly, the spiritual master and spiritual master's instructions are non-different. If you want to please the spiritual master, then you follow the instructions of the spiritual master. So if you follow the instructions of the spiritual master, then you are serving the spiritual master. Because the spiritual master and the instructions are non-different. Just like Prabhupada is not with us by Vapu, but he is there with by Vani, by his instructions. So we are following his instructions. And if we just follow, just when Prabhupada was there, then he was instructing directly, but now he's instructing us through his books. And we are getting all the instructions through Prabhupada's books, like Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and all the books that he gave. So this is a very nice example of someone who follows the instructions, but we know that there are sometimes, especially in Kali Yuga, it's mentioned that people don't follow the instructions of the spiritual master. It's mentioned in one of the verses that in Kali Yuga, one doesn't hear and it doesn't see. One is blind. Anda badir karlekha. Anda means one is blind and the other one is badir. Badir means deaf. One is deaf, one is blind. Who is blind in Kali Yuga? Not all especially this generally. There's so many gurus in this world now in Kali Yuga, but one is blind. So who is blind? The spiritual master or the disciple? Spiritual master? Who says the disciple is blind? So yes, spiritual master is blind and one is deaf. Who's the deaf one? The disciple. Why is the spiritual master blind? Huh? He thinks he's God here. Yeah, because he has not seen the truth. Because there is in Bhagavad Gita there is a verse, you must approach a spiritual master, right? You must approach someone who has seen the truth. Which verse is that? Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya updekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattva darshina. So jnaninas tattva darshina, one who has seen the truth, tattva. So approaching such a person, one can understand what is to be done, what is not to be done. And of course, the way to approach is with humility and with saving attitude. And so the one who doesn't hear or one who is deaf is the disciple, because the disciples don't follow the instructions. Ek na sunahi, ek nahi dekha. And such, it's mentioned that such gurus actually harahi dhan shokana harahi. They take away the wealth of the disciples, but they don't remove the lamentation. And so this is mentioned about Kali Yuga in one of the scriptures. And so the spiritual master's instructions are very important, and one should follow the instructions if they want to actually make progress, if they want to get the purpose for which this human body has been given. To fulfill the purpose, one must accept and follow the instructions of a spiritual master. There are some examples of people who have taken the instructions very, very seriously. Can you think of an example of someone who took the instructions very seriously and achieved success? Very nice. Dhruva Maharaj is a very nice example, because Dhruva Maharaj was able to see the Lord face to face in only 6 months. Only a 5-year-old child. Of course, he had faith in the instructions of his own mother. Mother said, yes, you can, we know that Dhruva Maharaj was trying to sit on the lap of his father, and the stepmother's name is? Hmm? Suruchi said, no, you cannot sit on the lap of your father. You can't sit on the throne, because although you are the son of your father, although you are the son of Uttanpad, you are not the son of Suruchi. You are not my son. So you cannot sit on the lap of your father. If you really want to sit on the lap of your father, then you have to go and perform austerities, and then if the Lord becomes pleased with you, then you ask for the benediction that you want to become Suruchi's son, and when you become my son, then you will be able to sit on my lap. And that was a very long process. But we know that he felt very insulted, and then he goes to his own mother, Suniti, and Suniti said, whatever your stepmother is saying is absolutely correct. Lord, anyone in this world who has got anything, it is by the mercy of the Lord only. And so he had faith in the instructions of the mother, and he goes to the forest, a little child only. And then when Narad Muni sees his determination, he comes and he gives further instructions how the devotional service is to be carried out. And then we know that he was able to see the Lord face to face only in 6 months. So Narad is an example of someone who followed the instructions of the spiritual master very, very seriously. Of course, in the modern day we have Prabhupada, right? Prabhupada, he took the instructions of his spiritual master very, very seriously, and that's why he went to the West to preach. And there are some who actually hear, but they don't follow. Right? There we can see the example of someone who heard from the disciple of Maitreya Muni, but he never would listen. Who was that? Disciple of Maitreya Muni. Someone who was always hearing from the disciple of Maitreya Muni. Dhritarashtra, correct. Yeah. Disciple of Maitreya Muni is Vidura. And who was hearing from Vidura all the time? Dhritarashtra. But he wouldn't want to listen. He will say, give me good instructions. Even when the Pandavas were cheated and they had gone to the forest, so Dhritarashtra is asking Vidura, please let me know what I should do. What should I do? Because whatever has happened, I don't feel good about it. Let me know what I should do. And Vidura says, your son Duryodhana, you should give him up. It's because of him, because of your attachment to your son, all these things are happening. And bring the Pandavas back to the kingdom. And then he became very, very angry. He says, you are taking the side of Pandavas, and you should be with them. And he goes to the forest. And then later on, Sanjaya was sent to bring him back, and he comes back. But we can see that he's being constantly guided by Vidura, but he wouldn't listen. And of course, later on, when all the sons had died, how many sons did Dhritarashtra have? 100? How many? How many sons did Dhritarashtra have? 100? Yes? 100? 101. 101. 100 from Gandhari, and then 1 from the maid servant. Right? So 1 from the maid servant, and the name of that son who was born from the maid servant is Yuyutsu. Yuyutsu, right? So Yuyutsu was born from the maid servant, and then of course 100 sons of Gandhari. So that's 101 sons, and of course 1 daughter as well, Dushala, and she was married to. Was it Jayadratha? He has one daughter only. So he's when all the sons he had lost, when all the sons, the 100 sons had died, and he was very, very attached to them. Then, of course, when Vidur came back, after getting instructions from Maitreya Muni, when he was very, very enlightened, and when he started preaching to Dhritarashtra, then, it made sense to him. Why was he not able to understand when all the sons were around him, when he was surrounded by all the sons? Why was he not able to understand? Because of too much attachment to the sons. Attachment. Because Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Bhog Aishwarya Prasaktanam Taya Parita Chedasam Vyavasayatmika Buddhi Samadho na Vidiyate. The one who's too much attached to bhog, material enjoyment and opulence, and those who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination for devotional service does not take place in them. Right? So he was too attached to the sons and, of course, the kingdom as well. And then those things did not make sense to him. But when he lost everything, including his 100 sons, then Vidura's instructions made sense to Dhritarashtra. And we can see there is also Ravana, who was always guided. He was always given good guidance. But Ravan did not accept it. He was given good guidance by his own wife, Mandodari. He was given good guidance by Vibhishan, his own brother, was a devotee. And he was given guidance even by Hanumanji when he went there. He gave him good instructions. He was given good instructions by Angad. He was given instructions by so many, but he wouldn't listen to them. So it's very important to take the instructions of the Guru or the Vaishnavas seriously if you want to make progress in devotional service. And we can see here, Devahuti had what is to be done, and she is doing it. She is doing it, she's carrying out the orders of Kardam Muni, and then we can see she's Samyak Shraddhaya Purusham Kutastam, that Purusham who is seated in the heart, Bhajat. Samyak Shraddha, with complete faith, she carried out the instructions. With complete faith she is worshipping that Lord who is in everyone's heart. Bhajat means worship. And Guru here, Prabhupada writes, most worshipable. Worshipping the most worshipable. And that is what she is doing. And with Shraddha. Shraddha, there are different meanings of the word Shraddha. But the real meaning is Shraddha. Shraddha, faith. Shraddha shabde Vishwas ke liye Sudrida Nishchay, Krishna Bhakti ke liye Sarva Karma Krit. So the Shraddha, the real definition of Shraddha is given in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Shraddhaya Shabde Vishwas Kela Sudrid Nishchay. That Shraddha is that faith, Vishwas Kela Sudrid Nishchay. Sudrid means that firm, Nishchay means the determination, that firm determination that Krishna Bhakti Kele Sarva Karma Krit hai. By performing devotional service to Krishna, then I have performed all the activities. Sarva Karma Krit hai. By performing devotional service to Krishna, I am actually doing everything that I am required to do. That is called Shraddha, the real definition which is given in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. That firm conviction, that firm determination, yes, I am doing what I am supposed to do. I am doing what this human life is meant for. Human life is not meant for, not meant to be spent like animals, because if you are only eating, sleeping, mating and defending, ahar nidra bhaya tunamcha samanyametat pashubhir narana. If one is just eating, sleeping, mating and defending, then they are non-different from animals, because that's what animals do, only eating. If you are only preparing to have only good meals and eat and sleep and have children and look after the children, animals are also doing those things. And just your protection, like all the making all the arrangements for your protection and defending and all those things, then there is no difference between humans and animals. The only thing that differentiates animals from the humans or humans from the animals is, what is it? Dharma ko adhiko vishesho dharmena hina pashubhir samana. The only thing that differentiates humans and the animals is the humans know what dharma is, but not the animals. And if one doesn't know what dharma is, then they are no better than dharmena hina pashubhi samana. They are like animals. But what is the real dharma? What is the topmost dharma? The topmost dharma is savai pumsa paro dharmo yato bhaktir adokshaje. That is the parama dharma. That's the supreme dharma. So, and that supreme dharma, to perform devotional service to Adokshaj or Krishna, should be unmotivated and uninterrupted. We can see today is which day? Christmas. What are other people doing? Enjoying their senses. I'm going to go to this party. Some of them must have already started drinking, or they must have been drinking since last night and they continue to drink the whole day. So that is all planning for sense gratification. Christmas means, we know that Christmas should be a special day for them, if they're real Christians, because we, just like when we celebrate Janmashtami, do we do all those things? We are in the temple, but are they in the church now? So most people are just preparing, just a lot of eating and a lot of course, nothing sanctified, or not just eating anything and everything, drinking and merrymaking, they call it. But actually, that's not the goal of, that's not why we have got this human body. Because every day should be for uninterrupted, means including Christmas Day or New Year Day. So, ahaituki apratihata, uninterrupted and unmotivated devotional service to the Lord. Every day, 365 days in a year. And so here, that's the purpose of human form of life. And we can see this Mother Devahuti, she's taking the instructions very seriously, and with so much of faith, she is worshipping the Lord, following the instructions of the husband. And later on, we'll see that the same Lord, who is in the heart, appears, and then she actually gets instructions from her. And Prabhupada writes a long purport here about Mata Parvati following the instructions of Lord Shiva. But we know that before Mata Parvati, she's Mata Parvati, the Mother Parvati, the consort of Lord Shiva. But in her previous life, she did not actually understand the instructions of Lord Shiva. In which body? The body of Sati. Yeah. Sati, in the body of Sati, she did not follow the instructions of Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva said, you should not go to that sacrifice that Daksh is performing. She went. And when he paid obeisances to Lord Ramachandra, who was looking for Sita in the forest, she thought that, how can Shiva actually pay respects to an ordinary person, who's ordinary, youth who's looking for for his wife, or ordinary, it looked like an ordinary person who's searching for his wife. And how can my husband, who's so great, pay obeisances or pay respects to such a person? And then we know that she lost her body, she gave up her body in the yagya of Daksha, and then same Sati becomes Parvati, and then she was very, 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 very determined in that life, and she is accepting Lord Shiva's instructions with so much of faith. And Prabhupada writes a couple of things and about Lord as when he appears, he doesn't appear, he appears out of his own internal potency, as Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Ajopi san avayatma, bhutanam ishwaropi san prakritim samadhisthaya sambhamya atma maya. By Ajopi san, although he's unborn, Ajopi san avayatma, although his body doesn't deteriorate, just like ours, we need our eyeglasses, our body starts giving up at one point or another. So, but Lord's body is not like that. Lord's body is Ajopisan, Avyaya Atma, Bhutanam Ishwarapisan. He's the Lord of all everyone. Bhutanam Ishwarapisan. Prakritim Swamadishtaya Sambhamyatma Maya. Prakriti's own Prakriti, own body he comes in, and by his own internal potency or Yoga Maya Shakti. And Prabhupada mentions this, and the Lord is found everywhere, is found in everyone's heart, and he can come out from the heart and become someone's child, or he can manifest anywhere and everywhere by the devotion of the devotees. So this is what the verse today says, and we can, yesterday in the last class, there were so many questions, and we finished at about 1:15, so hopefully we can finish at 9 o'clock, today. So any questions or comments? Yes, Prabhuji.
What happens if you cannot follow the instruction of the spiritual master due to a bad habit, due to previous habits?
What happens if you don't follow the instructions of the spiritual master because of previous bad habits? Okay. So the question is, what happens if you are not able to follow the instructions of the spiritual master because of previous bad habits? Okay, very nice question. So why does one have previous bad habits? Why does one have previous bad habits? Yes. Why does one, let's say one has got some sort of habit and and they're not able to give it up? Why do you think they have the bad habits? Very nice. Association with the modes of material nature. And that is what is making people actually perform sinful activities. If you look at, say, Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna is asking Lord Krishna, Takena prayuktoyam papam charati purusha anichanapi varshne baladiva niyojita. What impels one to perform sinful activities? Baladiva, forcefully is making one do. And Lord Krishna is saying, Kamesha, Krodesha, Rajoguna Samudbha, Mahashana, Mahapapma, Vidhenam, Yahavarinam. So it's the Kam is the greatest enemy, the lust only. It is lust only which transforms into anger. And that's born of Rajoguna, born of the mode of passion, and of course which later on transforms into mode of ignorance. So Lord actually says also in the Bhagavad Gita, in the 14th chapter, that then guna netana titya tinin trin dehi dehi samadvan janma mrityu jara dukhair vimukta amrita mashnute. That if one is able to transcend the three modes of material nature, then they get freed from janma mrityu jara dukhair vimukta amrita mashnute. Janma means birth, mrityu means death, jara means old age, and all the distresses that one has, one is able to get freed from that. And Arjuna had asked, yes, to transcend. So the solution is to get if one is not able to perform, carry out the instructions of the spiritual master, it is because, it may be because of some bad habits in the past. But the thing is, we need to know that we have to follow the instructions, and if we follow, if you want to, and the bad habits are actually because of the previous, because of the influence of the three modes. And how do we get freed from the three modes? Lord Krishna says, Mam cha yove vicharena bhakti yogena sevate sa gunan samiti tetan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. So because of the bad habits, because of, because if one performs devotional service, Mam cha yove vicharena bhakti yogena sevate sa gunan samiti tetan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Then one can actually transcend the three modes by performing devotional service. So the spiritual master, actually, one can have what do we call, the Shiksha Guru, and the Shiksha Guru will always instruct them to perform devotional service, right? And then one, if one keeps performing devotional service by associating with the devotees, then that situation will not arise. Right? That will not arise, because if you are with devotees and you're chanting your rounds, because when the spiritual master will give you initiation after you have started chanting 16 rounds, at least 16 rounds for our movement, of course. If you have started chanting at least 16 rounds, then your spiritual master, then someone will accept you as a disciple. Nowadays, of course, there are so many, so-called spiritual masters. They don't even ask you to do anything. They just say you are my disciple. But in our movement, we know that someone has to follow. Has to start chanting the Mahamantra, and then freed from those meat eating, intoxication, gambling, and illicit sex. Then they're accepted by a guru. So. If they actually follow that, then there won't be any problem. But if they don't follow those instructions, the basic ones, then they will get under the control of the three modes, and that will always be happening. So we just have to keep performing a devotional service. And then you will not fall down, and because otherwise the bad habits will keep coming. Because once you don't perform devotional service, then you are under the control of the three modes. Because Deviya Shagun Mahima Maya Duratya Mamevaya Prapadande Maya Metam Tarantite. So the three modes, my divine energy comprising of the three modes is very difficult to overcome. But Mamevaya Prapadante Maya Metam Tarantite. But those who surrender unto me can easily cross beyond it. But then you have to do it. How do you do it? In this yuga, the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Otherwise those things will start coming up, keep popping up. Right? Those will come, and there is always chance of fall down. Like we see that Jagai and Madai, they had taken a vow, from now on, we will not get back to our previous bad habits. And then they never looked back. And then they were so sinful, but those bad habits never came back. Because they took the instructions very, very seriously. If you take these instructions very seriously, then there's no problem at all. And of course the good association, and keeping away from Vaishnava aparad, because that's very dangerous. It causes fall down very easily. Then you start blaspheming the devotees, and start looking faults in others, and then there's a cause of fall down. Yes, Prabhuji, anything else? Does it answer your question? Okay. Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah. Yes, Prabhuji.
First was you were talking about the 100 sons of Dhritarashtra.
Yes.
I've never heard that. The second part you were saying something about a race of 10 1.
Yeah, this is from Mahabharata. This from Mahabharata. Um, one son was from Maid Seventh, and his name is Yuyutsu.
He was the son who went to the Pandavas.
Yes, correct. He is the one who, because at the beginning of the battle, there was, announcement made. Now, if you want to change sides, you can change sides. And Yuyutsu came to this side. He fought on behalf of the Pandavas. Right? That is why only 100 sons mentioned, like Dhritarashtra's 100 sons died, because who killed all the 100 sons? Bhima. Bhima killed 100 of them. Right? So that's mentioned in during the birth. If you read the Mahabharata, the birth of the sons of Dhritarashtra. So there's even the names of all of them are given. 100 names are given in the Mahabharata. If you read, right? So, of course, it's not easy to remember them. Most of us we know the Duryodhan and Dusasan, the topmost asuras. But others, if you have to remember, is 98 other names. Yuyutsu is easy, of course, is only one from the Might Seven. Yes, anything else, bro?
The second question was, you were talking about Dhruva Maharaj.
Yes.
He attained perfection in
Yeah.
6 months. For most people, I would imagine it's not that quick.
Hmm.
They achieve perfection, so to speak.
Hmm.
And sometimes it can take a whole lifetime or a whole lifetime.
Hmm.
So, how do you develop the patience to stick it out for that long? Because you read these kinds of examples.
Hmm.
On the one hand, it gives you hope that it can be done
Hmm.
quickly.
Hmm.
And then on the other hand, you look at it and you think, why is that not happening?
Hmm.
Why does it take so long? So,
Hmm.
how does one develop the patience to
Hmm.
do that?
Yeah, there is mention of Katwang. Katwang was able to do it in one day, less than a day. Katwang. And we know that there's so many examples in the scriptures. Some of them can do it, like Ajamil. Ajamil was, he was about to die. We know that, but he called out, and he was protected. But then, of course, he was given a chance. He was given a chance to purify himself. And then after more than 10 years, he actually attained perfection. Then he started chanting the name of the Lord with so much of love, and then he attained perfection. That's Ajamil. Took me more than 10 years, of course. And then Dhruv Maharaj 6 years, and then Katwang Muni, Katwang Rishi just one day. So it depends on our seriousness. But it's not just like we see in this world, people are so much interested in making money, and they want to make money, and they want to have so many things. They want to have a house, they want to have a car, and then they work very hard for it. Isn't it true? They work very, very hard, and because they give importance to the money, right? But when it comes to devotional service, how much time do we dedicate? It's just mostly our spare time. Well, when we have some spare time, okay, no. But of course, there's so many wonderful brahmacharis, they dedicate their whole lives doing that. But if you look at people generally, they will only do it when they have some spare time. They're not taking it that seriously. So if you just like when you have to morning to afternoon, so many hours and all the traveling time and everything, and so much time you dedicate to your work, and then you are able to get what you want in life, Some of them work very, very hard, and they are able to do it in a short time. So similarly, the devotional service, if you take it seriously, then you achieve perfection sooner. But that doesn't mean that if it's not, I'm not getting purified, I'm not getting that much of ruchi, then I should give up. It's not that. You should continue doing it, and then the ruchi will come, the taste will come. So when the taste comes, then of course, you will not be able to give it up. But initially, for people who are especially, starting, it can be a bit hard. But they just need to be with those people who are serious. Otherwise, there's, you may just be like others who are not that serious, and it might take longer. We can see Dhruv Maharaj was very serious, and then he was able to see the Lord face to face in 6 months. So, how soon we achieve perfection depends on our seriousness. How seriously we take devotional service. There are so many other things we take so seriously in this life. So we have to take that seriously as well. Some people are very, very interested in, doing a good degree at the university, and they work towards that. Like I know at the Otago University, one person had an average of 93 point something % average. But he missed out. He was on the reserve list. He missed out. And then finally he got it after more than a month. But he said, he was always working, and even in the secondary school, he started reading the syllabus for the health sciences program. He started reading, and he was doing all the practice for that. There's a special test that they do. So much of effort, and then they are able to get it. So similarly, we have to take the devotional service like that, and then we can achieve perfection. So how soon we achieve perfection depends on how serious we are and how much effort we put in. Like Mother Yashoda did her best to tie Lord Krishna. And it's mentioned, Drishtva parishramamam Krishna kripayasita swabandhane. When Lord Krishna saw the effort that Mother Yashoda is putting her best, she's doing her best, and then Lord got bound. Right? So the seriousness, our seriousness depends on how soon we can achieve perfection. But at the same time, we should be patient. Dhiraj is very important. And then, and we should not take it too lightly and not think that, okay, I will only do it when I'm about to die like a Jamil. We shouldn't think like that, because we don't know when we are going to die. That's why Prahlad Maharaj says, Komar acharet pragyo dharman bhagvataniha. That durlabam manusham janma tadapi adruvam artadam. That's adruvam, it's temporary, it could be taken any time. It can give us the greatest benefit. But Komar acharet, start doing it when you are from childhood. Hare Krishna. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, so I was just a follow-up to that. So if someone is trying their
Yeah.
best, they're genuinely trying their best, they still don't seem to be getting anywhere, or they don't feel like they're progressing, then how do you know?
Then you have to, you may not know what your problems are. It is good if you ask some seniors, and then they will guide you, they'll know your problem. Sometimes it's very hard to know your own problem. Like someone was going for the driving test about 10 times and failing all the time and blaming the testing officer. Right? And then he took proper guidance, and then he passed. So similarly, we may be thinking that, I'm okay, and then you might be surrounded by people who are actually not good guides. They may be, just maybe like us, and then it's very hard to make progress. We have to take guidance of the seniors, and they need to pick our mistakes and say, this is what you are not doing right. This is what you have to do correctly. Because I might be driving on the road and I might be thinking that I'm a good driver, but my driving needs to be checked by a driving instructor. And they said, this is the right way to drive. Because this is how the road code actually says you have to drive, and then you have to drive according to the road code and then you'll be fine. Right? So similarly you have to be surrounded by such people, such seniors who actually point out, and you have to be humble to accept that. And then the progress will be quick. So if you can find your own mistakes, good, and then work on those, rectify it. Otherwise you have to always be surrounded by those who can help you. Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, thank you for the lecture. So I would say that in the interpret, women generally are less intelligent, but how can we understand it when actually in many places there's a lot of women coming to Krishna consciousness? Women in general are more intelligent than
Yeah.
coming to Krishna consciousness, being intelligent.
So, very nice. So, Prabhupada says in this purport, very nice question. Of course, sometimes it can be controversial as well. But Prabhupada is mentioning it, and there is also evidence as well in research done that it is not on the spiritual platform. On the spiritual platform, all of us are, spirit souls. And even it's mentioned that vidya vinaya sampanne brahmane gavi hastini sunichaiva so pakecha pandita samadarshina. Pandita sees with equal vision, even the cow, elephant, chandal and learned and humble brahmana. So, or a dog eater or a dog, those, Pandita sees everyone. A learned person sees everyone with equal vision. So on the spiritual platform, there is no difference at all. We are all living entities, right? And then when it comes to devotional service, everyone has got the right to perform devotional service. Because Lord Krishna says, Mami partha vepashrite pishu papoyonaya striyo vaisyas tatha sudras tepi yanti param gatim. What does Lord Krishna says? Mami partha vepashritya, those who take shelter of me, pashritya, mam partha vepashritya, even who all can take shelter of me, even striyo vaisyas tatha sudra. Even stris, the female, vaishya, the vaishyas, or the vaishya class, vaishyas, tata sudra, even sudra. All this, if they take shelter of me, they are all qualified for the supreme destination. Lord Krishna says that. So, when it comes to the intelligence, we can see that in this world, in some of the fields, the Matajis are doing much better in as far as in certain fields. But when it comes to, for example, let's say someone dies. What happens? You probably go with your wife, and then the wife will go with them and start crying. That emotional thing is that discriminates. They can get quite emotional sometimes, right? And the Lord has designed them, their body, to be like that, because they need to be like that. They need to care for their children. The father and the mother, who will be the better caretaker of the child? Mother has to have that kind of attachment. And for women to give up that attachment to the children, to the family members, it takes a little bit longer at times. You agree with me? They're very, very easily disturbed when the family members are, in suffering. They easily, even it's mentioned that when it comes to the social workers, they're very good social workers because they understand, they can get to that emotional level and understand what other people are actually suffering. They can, stand on their shoes and understand Women can understand that very, very easily. And but when it comes to their own, sometimes they can get very, very, very easily disturbed. So it is just the nature. It's nature which can make the man and the women different. There's some the creation is like that. We know that when it comes to equality, we can have equality at certain level, but not at all levels. You can't say that now from the man has to start producing children. It has to be always women, right? It has to be always women. We can't come to the same. It's the Lord has created women for certain purposes, and they are meant to look after, save the others, save the children, look after the children. Of course, nowadays it's getting quite different, especially in Kali Yuga, where both men and women both work. Right? They look after, they take care. But previously, it was only women who would take care of the children, and quite different. So you can't. Women are much greater than men in certain things, and men are greater in other things, right? So we can't. When it comes to spirituality, then everyone has got the same right. That's why we can see women are very easily attracted to devotional service, because the topmost devotees are who are the topmost devotees of Krishna? The gopis. And gopis are females. And even Lord Shiva had to become a gopi. So their chance because jivas are male or female? Female. Prakriti. Lord Krishna says, what the Lord Krishna says? Bhumi rapona lavaya khamana buddhira chamkaritya me bhinna prakriti ashtada prakritim vidhi me param ne. There's a apare metastwanyam prakritim vidhi me param jiva bhuta mahabhavedam dharate jagat. So there's a para prakriti. They are greater prakriti, and that's jivas. So prakriti is male or female? Female. So because we are only there's one Purusha, and that is Krishna. So for them it's more natural, isn't it true? Being in the female body is more natural to get closer to Krishna. So there's no restriction in that sense. But when it comes to certain emotions, like when it comes to dealing, even now you can see that sometimes in India there is no family members to cry for the dead person, and they will hire people and hire women, and they will all sit down and start crying. But can you make men do that? No, because they can get quite easily disturbed, the women, and they can get quite emotional about things. And that is what is making the difference. Right? Instead of using they can get quite emotional. So there's quite a lot of difference, and even the modern science has proved that the nature is quite different of the men and women. Prabhuji, does that answer your question? Yeah. Hare Krishna. But we don't. Everyone has got the right to perform devotional service, and women, even if you look at Srimad Bhagavatam, out of all the stutis, all the prayers of Kunti Maharani is put first in the Srimad Bhagavatam.